And today my adventure begins right here at the Rocky Creek here, just south of Rock Hill, South Carolina. Check out this old racetrack, this old dirt track right here. Don't know if they still use it. It looks pretty grown up, like this. It's not been used in quite some time. This is actually called the Rocky Creek dirt track. And I'm on my way to a small town today to visit by the name of Great Falls, South Carolina. And I seen this on my drive in and I thought, heck, I want to stop this and kind of document this and check it out. That is really cool. Well, good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitch, Hiking, Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's going to be a fun little adventure. The town we're headed to today was recommended by a viewer probably several months ago. And they reached out and said, hey man, there's this town in South Carolina you need to go check out. And it's pretty awesome. You've been all around it and you've never went there. And I said, okay, I'll look into it. And today I have made my way into this area. We are going to go check out the town of Great Falls. Talk a little bit about the history. And I definitely want to document the storefronts. They have like a lot of historic buildings there, or quite a few. Old mill is still there. At least one of them I think is still erected. At least it was on Google Maps. Don't know if it's still there to this very day or not. But we'll find out. That's why we're here today. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and get our day started. It's pretty cloudy today. Again, several of my videos here lately, I always film on the weekends, so the clouds just kind of follow me, I think. All right, and I've made my way down here into the downtown area. I'm right here on the corner of Dearborn Street and Underwood Street, looking at this Great Falls, South Carolina mural on the side of this building. And this place looks pretty desolate. A lot of old building storefronts here. This place here might have some business. It might be open at times, but not today. I'm here on a weekend. But these stores right down here on the left in this white building, there's nothing inside, nothing happening. And look at this little girl statue right here. What an interesting place just to place her. So as we walk around town, I like to get into a little bit of the history with you and tell you a little bit about the early beginnings. Long before European settlement, the area was home to the Iswa, or people of the river, who were closely associated with the Catawba Indian Nation. The Great Falls of Catawba provided abundant fishing, making the area an important gathering and trading places for centuries. Spanish explorer Juan Pardo recorded native villages here in this area way back in 1566. Also, this region played a role during the American Revolution. In August of 1780, the nearby Battle of Fishing Creek ended in a surprise British victory over Patriot General Thomas Sumter. The battle was an important event in South Carolina's backcountry campaign. Okay, so notice this street right here. The main street that goes through this part of town that I'm in is called Dearborn. And there is some very interesting history attached to that name. And the reason I guess they called the street Dearborn is because of this is one of the area's most unique landmarks, was the federal arsenal known as Mount Dearborn. It was built in 1803 to 1817 on an island here on the nearby Catawba River at the time. It stored military weapons for the young United States of America. And to this very day, stone ruins of the arsenal remain on the island. So now let's talk a little bit about how the town of Great Falls actually got its name. The town gets its name from the Great Falls of the Catawba, a 4-mile stretch of powerful rapids that once dropped more than 120 feet. Around 1905, the Southern Power Company, a predecessor of Duke Energy, built a hydroelectric dam that diverted much of the river through turbines. While this provided electricity that fueled the industrial growth of the Carolinas, it also left much of the original falls dry for over a century. Beginning in 2023, portions of the historic river channel once again began receiving regular water releases. And right here we have a IGA, and right next door we have a police department. And I'm just going to kind of walk down Dearborn Street here and check out some of these very interesting abandoned storefronts. You can definitely see the age on this little downtown area. Now this town in some way is a little bit strange because it's kind of got two downtown areas with buildings like this. And this is just the first one. This is the first one I came to. It's kind of on the northern part of town. This place right there, what's that say? McCrae's Flowers, number 2. As you can see, that has not been open for quite some time. I mean, all these little storefronts down through here just have like real estate posters in the windows, pretty much abandoned. Very quiet other than the morning traffic coming through. But, you know, I've been to other little small towns like this, and you will find out very quickly that they will tear these places down. And this one right here might happen sooner than later. Look inside. Look at the floor. And then look up at the roof. Yeah, can you see it? There is none. No roof in there. It's completely just the sky that you're looking at right there. They even have some vegetation growing inside of this building. And this place here don't even have a door. They just have a piece of plywood kind of covering the door where you can't go inside. Got some bars on the window on the insides and the innards. Kind of what it looks like in here. Look at that. It was an old barber shop or beauty shop at one time. They got those things that women would pull down over their head when they was having their perms. You know, back in the day, that's old school. Okay, I've made my way down here to the end of this little row of buildings here in town. And right across the street, all these are also abandoned. Looks like we got us an old retro tin sign up here on this storefront. It says Browning's Tees. Used to be some type of a t-shirt shop. And right up there on the t-shirt, it used to be a Pepsi sign, it looks like, and maybe they painted over it and put the t-shirt USA on it. Very, very cool. So as I've made my way down the sidewalk that I'm transitioning to right here is looks much newer. But the building here does not look in great shape at all. It's all boarded up. Don't know if this used to be a restaurant or a store. I'm trying to picture if I ever seen a sign designed quite like that, with the like the rectangle up there and then like more of an oval. But I don't know. I just can't quite picture what that might have been. If you got any guesses, definitely put in the comment section down below if you're a local. If you have any memories of this place. A very odd place where it transitions when it's actually cemented down into the ground, how it curves out. And it curves out because if they don't curve it out, it would actually hit this overhang. That's why the angling happened. And right here, it looks like we have an old service station that's been closed for quite some time. Even has an old church pew out front, right there in front of the window. And they got a really cool Phillips 66 sign right there. All right, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up in this area. So now let's drive a little bit further to the south and go check out some more of the historic area of Great Falls. So I've made my way over here to one of the old mills here in the area that still stands. So Great Falls, as we know today, was largely built around the Republic cotton mills. Construction began in 1909 and the mill opened in 1911. The company built houses, streets, stores, churches, and other community facilities for its workers, creating a classic southern mill town. In 1948, the mills became part of the J.P. Stevens, one of the nation's largest textile companies. So if everything I read online is correct, this here is the Old Republic Cotton Mill number 2. Now there was another one here in this town, and it was actually, I think, demolished. So this one right here should be the last one standing. And boy, it is one big creepy place. A lot of green stuff growing all over the place here. I'm kind of surprised the gate's open, but you can see right here is some kind of loading dock. You can see where transfer trucks would actually back down in there and load the goods. Not going to walk in there. I'm not that type of channel anymore. So I just wanted to show you this. It's a piece of Great Falls history, and it's very photogenic. I think old decrepit places like this, it's very interesting to look at. I don't know, I'm drawn to places like this in some way. So before we leave the cotton mill area, I do want to talk a little bit about the decline. Like many textile communities here in the Carolinas, Great Falls struggled after the mills closed during the early 1980s. Jobs disappeared, the population started to decline, and many downtown buildings become vacant. Even so, the town has worked to preserve its history and attract visitors interested in the industrial heritage and outdoor recreation. Okay, I've made it down here into the, I guess, the second downtown area. This one here looks a little bit more prominent, more historical buildings, and quite a few of them, but unfortunately they look very similar. So let's talk about population. Population here in Great Falls, South Carolina is 1,860 souls with a median age of 37.4. Now let's look at demographics. 60.13% is white, 32.56% is black, 7.31% is mixed race. And then when we look at the index income per capita here in Great Falls is $28,340, which is quite a bit below the South Carolina and the national average. The median household income is $56,966, and that also comes below the South Carolina and the national averages. And then when we scroll down a bit to the poverty level, poverty here is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's 20.8%, which is slightly 3% above the South Carolina 17.2, and about a little over 5% higher than the national of 15.1. Now we're going to look at crime. Crime here in Great Falls is 1.2 per 1,000, or 1,220 per 100K, which is well below the South Carolina and the national average. Then when we look at that in percentages, you are 42% below on total crime than the national average, 38% below the violent crime national average, and 43% below on property crime in the national average. Okay, so I've walked up here to just across the road from the old mill that we just looked at. And look at this old house right here on this property. Now somebody has been out here doing some work, cleaning some vegetation up. Actually removed a tree out front, as you can see right there, the chainsaw. I wonder if they're going to demolition this place or what, because this place looks in pretty rough shape. Looks like it's been gutted because the front door is open. I've seen a few of these homes. It looks very similar to this as I've been driving around the streets here. All right, I'm standing here right across the street from the First Baptist Church. And I just noticed this old rusted out sign holder right here. And it belonged to possibly this old service station at one time. It's got a really nice, kind of like an overhang awning. You can see where the gas pumps used to set right here. Even have some of the old tubing and piping that brought the gas up out of the ground into the pumps themselves. Kind of makes me wonder when you see this, and you don't see gas stations built quite like this anymore, you know. And I just wonder if this was a self-service station, or was this one where you drove up and it rang the bell when the guys come out and pump the gas for you. And right here on the on Circle Street, right here on the side of this building. Used to be some kind of mural here, but it's pretty washed out and faded now. I really can't tell what the heck this used to be. I would imagine that was some kind of bird right there. But the rest of it, maybe it was a scene from the river, the nearby river, like a nature scene or something. And right here is another home that's seen better days. But I think there's some good news with this one. Even though it looks pretty bad right now with all the vegetation growing up all over it, kind of taking it back over. Look, they got some brand new windows, it looks like, right there on the porch. So maybe they're fixing to fix this place up and do some renovations. That's always good. And oh, look up there on the roof. That brings me back to my childhood. That is an antenna, folks, if you don't know. That used to be how we watched TV back in the days. And if the president was on, your night was shot. So to give a little context to that joke I just told, back in the day before cable TV and you had an antenna on top of your house, you only got like a handful of channels. It was not many. So when the president came on, he was on every channel. You couldn't watch Dukes of Hazzard, you couldn't watch Dallas, you couldn't watch nothing. Your night was shot. That's what that meant. And right here on the corner of Dearborn Street and Circle Street, they have a thrift shop here called Grasp. And they must be fans of The Wizard of Oz. Because look at all this cute little stuff they have in here. Look at that little cute dress. Dorothy dress. They got Dorothy right over here in this cutout. The Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow. They even have a yellow brick road along with some ruby slippers. And then right over here on the opposite side, we have the Wicked Witch. That is pretty neat. The Wizard of Oz. Right here in Great Falls, South Carolina. I gotta say, it's pretty quiet out here. This is called Sassy Scissors Beauty Salon. Looks like some of these places, it's kind of hard to see if they're actually businesses that are open or not. But this one here is very strange because that is quite the walk-in, right? Look how deep that is. You know, I grew up in a small town and I don't think I've ever seen one. Like you can see how that indentation, how the door is like indented in. But look at this place. I wonder if it was always designed like this. It's almost like they had showcase windows and maybe they just bricked it in later and just added that. Surely this whole thing used to be glass, I would imagine. Here at the Carolina Circle of Kier. Maybe some kind of urgent care. I gotta say, everything I say out here, I don't know if the camera's probably picking it up, but there is a monstrous echo in this town. There's old windows up there. If I walk over here a little bit, you can actually see all the way up. Yeah, that building wasn't designed with a skylight. That's just the roof has caved in. It's looking pretty rough. And this is very interesting right here. Look at these plates. It's like coffee plates down through there, or small plates, just kind of glued to the bricks. So I think I just figured out why there's plates right over here glued to the bricks. Because this was some kind of maybe art shop at one time. That makes a little bit more sense. Still strange though. But you know what? That's the beauty of art. You can imagine it, make it. Some people get it and some people don't. And I just can't tell you how many closed businesses that I'm seeing here. It's a lot. I mean, this ranks up there on my list. Francis Department Shop. Once was a very big store. That's kind of fancy. Standoff right here in the middle, ain't it? It's got like mirror. I'm surprised that's not broken, to be honest with you. It's all packed, locked up. The windows are covered. But right up here is a place that I'm definitely wanting to go check out because they have an old theater right up here on the right that is actually connected in some way to the Old Republic cotton mill. Look at this place here, it's all boarded up. No ceiling here neither. It's all blown out. Maybe it just fell in, possibly. Okay, I've made my way down here to the United States Post Office, Great Falls, South Carolina. Zip code here is 29055. And right across from the post office, you will find at least the front fascia and the walls of the old theater. So this theater was actually constructed in 1921-22 by the Republic Cotton Mill. Rather than simply providing jobs, the mill company created an entire community for its workers, including their houses, company store, churches, schools, and yes, a theater to go have a little entertainment. And right next door to the theater itself, you see the name, or some of it, Republic, imprinted right there. And this was a premium served all day coffee shop, Republic Mint. Don't know how long this dates back, but it is boarded up now and they got caution tape up, so no coffee shops here in the area that's opened at the moment. But I kind of want to walk over here and take a little peek inside the old theater. Old bar windows here, what the heck? But check that out in there. That is cool, man. Still has like a stage, right? It's got doors on either side. That's pretty neat. So the last time this theater was open was in 1974. But if you go all the way back to the very beginning, the very first movie that was shown here was Charlie Chaplin's The Kid, which at that time was one of the biggest silent films in that era. And if you're standing here in front of the United States Post Office here in Great Falls, right next door is a very interesting building. It's got kind of an Alamo-esque look to it. So this is a really cool story that goes along with this building. Supposedly, this was the very first store that was built in town around 1910 by the Republic Cotton Mill to serve the rapidly growing mill town. So that's pretty much it. Does that mean this was the company store possibly? I'm not really sure. I couldn't find anything on that. So definitely chime in the comment section down below if you know if this was the original like company store for the cotton mill. I'm thinking this was the company store the more I'm looking at this. So right here, we're off to the side. You can see the theater right there. And right here next door is an old pad where the old cotton mill used to sit. This here is the former Republic Cotton Mill site. You can see the old tower off there in the distance. This place has been demolished. The only thing that's left is just a little bit of the ruins. A lot of history right here. Just think this right here is part of the backbone of the town of Great Falls. I walked over here on this hill to get a little bit better view of the mill. And when you turn around, kind of give you an idea where I'm at, you can see the old store right here. They're renovating. But look at this old place. What do you think that used to be? Didn't find any documentation talking about that. Had to have something to do with the cotton mill, I would imagine. Maybe a pickup point. Not really sure. The doors down there are open, but I'm telling you, it's been raining a lot in this area. Surprised it ain't raining right now. It drizzled on me on my way here. But yeah, it's a pretty muddy mess down through there. Okay, now we're getting a little bit better shot of the ruins of the cotton mill. I'm really fascinated with stuff like this. That is so cool. And then right back here is another historic structure hidden away from everyone's sight. Look at this little brick building back here. This here is the old jail. It was built in 1912 and closed in 1951, which makes me wonder. They must have been pretty strict at the old cotton mill. if you didn't do your job, maybe they just said, you're going to lock you up right now. It's just right around back. Just joking. Yeah, if I wouldn't have walked down here, I would have totally missed this. The old jail. Had to do a quick Google search where I know what I was looking at. When I seen it, I kind of seen the bars on the windows and it was like, yeah, that must be a jail. Let me do a quick search. It said it has 2 cells in it. And sure enough, right there it is. Right there they are. Both the cells. It's even got a little toilet in there. What's that next to it? What do they call that? A bidet? Fancy. I just can't help myself. I have to find a way to kind of stretch across this muddiness and look in there. Check it out. It's what's left over of an old cot or prisoners that didn't do their job, where they had to go lay down and think about it. All right, that was the old jail. And I think that right there might just wrap up our video, cause I feel raindrops falling on my head. It is just a little bit of rain. And just to turn the camera around, you see those clouds right there? They're looking a lot darker than how everything looked when I first got here, when I first arrived. So I think we're gonna have to make our way back out here and shut it down for today. All right, everyone, I think that is going to pretty much wrap it up for our video today here in Great Falls, South Carolina. Really had a great time today. It's definitely worth the drive down here. Got some revitalization going on the first store built in town, which I think is pretty cool. So hopefully things are looking up. But this is a very interesting town, really cool history. Definitely very much a meal town. Had 2 meals here, I read. So pretty cool. Got my feet cleaned off. A little bit of mud down there. It's okay, I always pack a separate, like when I know I'm going to a place that could get sketchy with dirt, mud, things like that, I always bring like a second pair of shoes. But I'm good to go. I got these pretty clean, so I'll be fine for the drive. But all that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Had a great time. Until next time, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I'll see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again soon. This was a good one today. Really, really cool. I really appreciate when people recommend me to go to certain areas and things like that, and they want to see my take on it. It's not like people ain't been here before and filmed these little towns. Hard to find anything here on YouTube that people have not filmed before. But I had a great time. So that being said, let's go ahead and say so long to Great Falls, South Carolina. Look, it's a car. Somebody's actually driving. I ain't seen a lot of movement, just a little bit here and there. It's been pretty quiet, but I am here on a Sunday. So, yeah. Let's take one last little sweeping look at the town front here. Look at that. That is nice. All right, I'm really done now. So long.